we've checking in on the kids, stuff like that.
That's
But the Mexico trips are super fun. It's very relaxing. And the town we go to, it's not a tourist town. We take our truck and we park it, and we have a little spot that's right, there's a plug-in and a water hookup and electricity and water, and you just plug in, and we're right on the beach, so we can see the sunrise on the water every morning. And yeah, it's really
for this area.
yeah. It's very,
Oops,
very local.
Measurement.
You take it with your, my Raptor, we take it with your Raptor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Already we need the AC. It's already getting warm. Okay.
Went to this.
Yeah, this is nice. Waiting for you.
Okay, it is not showing up here.
Yeah, hang on. It's a
It's
lot.
not showing up in Amador City. You can see there's a charge point in Sutter Creek.
There must be some standing water around.
Oh, that's up by the transit. No,
There's
that's,
a little creek out there.
By the,
Yeah.
full courts in.
yeah, that's it. And then that's what this one is. I see the one by transit office. But there, it doesn't,
Show them their city.
no, it doesn't show one here.
No.
I mean, I haven't updated it either, so. Any plugs?
Here we are.
There we go.
Okay, see, I had the camera set up for us, right there. Okay, now we go to live. Okay. So let me escape this for a moment. Let me see if it's showing up on the other one. Yep, there we are. Okay,
Right.
but it's 20 seconds behind, so you don't need that one. There you go. All right. Oh my. Wouldn't that have been great?
That was those reflex skills from playing basketball.
There we go. This will go to Joyce when you come up.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 7:04. Sorry for the delay in getting the Zoom set up. Let's stand for the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible.
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We have roll call, manager.
Okay, so prior to roll call, I just need to explain, we've made some changes to how we proceed. So with a roll call, what'll happen now, because we are streaming live, we're going to ask I will ask each individually to say here or not here. We just won't go around the room. The other part too, this will affect how we go through the agenda. When there's an agenda item, first thing we will do is we will call the agenda item. And then we will have the comment by the public. And then we will ask each individual council member if they also have comment to streamline it more. And then if it's an item in which we will vote on, we will then again use the roll call to ask each member their vote. This will not only make it easier for those that are joining live via live stream, but also make it easier for our staff that's recording the meeting. So
Okay.
at this point, I'll begin by asking the roll call of the members. Council member Susan Braxton.
Here.
Council member Russell Robinson. He is not here. He notified us that he would not be here this evening. Council member Bruce Sherrill.
Here.
Council or Vice Mayor Ann Artinian.
Here,
Mayor Sandy Staples.
Here.
Mayor, I turn the time over to you for agenda.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of the city council regular meeting agenda. And before we go to that approval, there is a correction and a discussion about adding an additional item. I think everyone has a copy of the additional item. The correction is on item number 9A, the resolution number. That was my error. I typed 161 and the resolution number is 624. And so if everyone make that correction, it's not even close on there. And please, anyone who needs to get some copies, That's just my phone. Not the laptop. Oh, this is typical. This is
All of
typical. Yep. The next item is adding item 9F. And Dave, would you explain the process for adding an agenda item? Because this is out of the ordinary.
I will. So under the Brown Act, of course, items that are posted then need to be posted in order for the public and the council to have 72 hours to review them. However, in the Brown Act and under Government Code Sections 54.956.5, the legislative body may enact items that are on the agenda to address an emergency situation, subsequent need item, or a holdover item. And so in this instance, this item is emergent number because it will roll over into maturity if not handled prior to the next council meeting. So instead of holding a separate and distinct meeting for this, we're gonna opt to use this government code in order to be able to put this item on the agenda if the council so approves.
This would be item 9F, and there are copies up here if anyone present would like to grab one. So with those two items as exceptions to, as additions or corrections to the agenda as was mailed out to everyone, is there a motion to approve the agenda with these additions, a motion or another motion that you'd like to go forward?
I so move that we approve the agenda with the additions as stated.
Second.
Thank you.
Now a roll call on that.
Yes.
So Councilmember Susan Bragstad.
Aye.
Councilmember Bruce Sherrill,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ann Keller-Tinian,
Aye.
and Mayor Sandy Staples.
Hi. Okay, we'll go forward. Item 5 on the agenda is public comment. And I'm going to read the statement there. Under provisions of the California Code, citizens wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time. Please submit a completed speaker submittal form. It's mainly to help us with spelling your name correctly in the minutes. Comments are limited to 5 minutes or less, and speakers are requested to state their name and community of residence. Under provisions of the California Government Code, the City Council is prohibited from materially discussing or acting on any item not on the agenda unless it can be demonstrated to be of emergency nature or an urgent need to take immediate action arose after posting of the agenda. So, open forum, public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment at this time? Please come on up so the speaker will pick you up.
Very brief. Elena Lyons, live in Amador City. And actually, this is a public service announcement for our community. We have just renewed the lease for the US Postal Service. for another
yay.
5 years, so we'll run through 2030 now. So don't guarantee that they'll keep the post office open, but they're under obligation now until 2030. So just a lot of people have been asking about it. The lease is actually up next year, but we've renewed it early and it'll go through 2030.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other public comment at this time?
Just briefly, here's my card. Joyce, County Austin, Amador City. And I just wanted to briefly address the beautification that was passed for ACBCA in April of 2022. And for those ideas to pass, and I guess Susan, are you still the lead on the beautification committee?
Design review,
I have no idea.
design review.
Oh, design review.
Yeah, oh, okay, excuse me, had the wrong verbiage. So what we're looking at is wanting to go ahead and paint black the metal railing that's on the two pocket parks
Mhm.
across from each other, right, where the creek goes under. So I just wanted to address that and see if there was any problem with that, or
I was hoping they'd get rusty.
rusty. Yeah, well, if you do black though, it kind of
It's similar.
disappears. Yeah, yeah. So is this something that needs to come to design review?
I was thinking, why don't you paint a little section and see what we all think?
Okay,
I would mention one other thing. If
Okay.
people will be in the street, painting from the street side as opposed to from the park side, you will likely need to get someone to help with traffic control. Because
can we put up cones?
I'm not 100% sure. Why don't you follow up with Dave and Larry? Who'll let you know, but I think you should follow up with that. Just, you don't want people getting run down because they're paying attention to the painting and a car whips around or something,
Well,
so.
here's the thing though, if we're bringing it for before design review, then it needs to be submitted as an appropriate application to design review. Now, again, because it's a city property, you don't need to pay, but
I mean, personally, I don't know what you think, but.
No, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just mention there is actually the same railing, whatever that was, it's probably done at the same time, between, it's behind the old firehouse, between it and the harassment, and it is painted black.
Correct.
Oh, so we can see what it looks like. Yeah, oh, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
here's the thing, if we're asking for permission, then it needs to be an agenda item for the council to vote on it, and this is a public comment. So that's that part. If you want a design review, then it need to be submitted to design review, just so that we're following the procedures that are laid out.
And then it needs to go to design review because that's what
Well,
it's already gone
you can bring
through.
it for the council, and it's city property, the council
Mhm.
doesn't, I think design review is actually incorrect. I think it needs to be a vote of the council to decide if they want to approve to paint the railing.
I thought that passed in 22.
I wasn't on council. I have no, we can look back
We
through
did a
minutes.
revision of the design review ordinance, but it did not include public property. It is only related to private property.
Right,
Elena, where is it black?
It's just behind, go past the bathrooms, and it's along the wall, it's like a wall that's up, like right by the creek.
Just a black, yeah, it's been painted black fence, metal fence.
is it already black, do you want to renew it?
No,
The ones in,
I
the
don't-
ones out
The ones
front are
on-
it's
silver.
just the one around this, yeah, that are on the curve are silver,
Right,
rusted now. And, but to show, she was talking about painting a section of it to see how it looks being black. And Elena was saying that there's already
right.
a section. Okay,
So again, if you want to make the this is again, if you're asking for approval of the council,
Mhm.
the council cannot approve it this evening, it needs to be an agenda item for next month.
Yeah, and by then we will look at the part that's already black.
But if it's approved by design review, it doesn't have to come before the city council. It
Thank
can just be a report.
Then you can actually, then they are an administrative body of their own.
okay.
Mhm.
And the only reason that a design review issue comes before the city
Mhm.
council is if it's an appeal by the individual,
Ah.
if they don't like the answer from design review.
Okay,
Okay.
So-
We can work that out.
that would be the most efficient way for you to
I
handle it.
think that would be good.
Yeah.
So how do I contact you?
You just,
Go to Joyce
Yeah.
to get.
Okay,
you the packet.
But here would be the thing,
Okay,
you would,
thank you.
because it's city property, you would not have to pay the fee.
Yeah.
If there's any fee associated with design review that a member of the public would pay, because again, it's not private property, it's public property.
got it.
okay,
Yeah, and then
That's-
if you fill out that form, then I let the committee know, and we'll take a look at it and let you know. what we think.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'll get that from you
hmm
on Monday.
Mhm.
Okay,
okay,
thank you all.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
is there any additional public comment? Public comment is closed. We have no presentations or proclamations this evening, and so we go on to the consent agenda. And all matters underneath the consent agenda are to be considered routine by city council, and items will be enacted in one motion in the form listed. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless before city council votes on the motion to adopt, members of the council, staff, or the public request specific items to be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action. Items withdrawn from the consent agenda will be heard after the rest of the consent agenda is approved. That's longer than the consent agenda. Yeah, so with that, The items are 7A, special meeting minutes of 25 March 2024, and the financial fiscal statement.
I have a financial question.
So you would like to have that discussed after we
I
approve the
don't remember
minutes?
what it is.
Okay,
But
we'll give you a moment.
can't we discuss the consent agenda before we vote on it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
You can't?
you can.
You can't, so we don't necessarily have to separate it.
No, if you have a question, you can,
Yeah.
you can,
Mhm.
council can discuss this question. So again, the way that we'll
You can
handle
either-
this, I need to just do the roll call through. So Councilmember Cheryl, do you have any questions about either of these items?
No.
All right, Councilmember,
Do you have to say
Right.
council member every
what
time?
would you like me to say?
Susan,
Well, if you want it that informal, you're the council.
maybe just for me.
Okay. Again, it's a, yes, Susan.
I just have a question. Have we received any money for the park?
We have not yet.
And do we know when we'll get reimbursed?
It's in the process.
We don't know the date.
Mhm. Holly said she was hoping within a couple of weeks, but
Right.
that's all I know.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Do you want me to say Ann?
I'm fine with anything.
Okay. Ann, what would you like? Do you have any questions or comments?
I have none.
Mayor?
I have none.
All right. Right. Well, we'll take a motion.
So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Bruce?
Yes.
And Susan?
Mhm. Oh,
And
I,
Mayor?
Hi. Okay, tonight we do, item 8, we do have an ordinance to review. This is ordinance number 186, an ordinance of the people of the city of Amador City, California, adding chapter 3.12 to the Amador City Municipal Code to establish a 1/4% transactions and use tax for a period of 10 years, said tax to be administered by the State Board of Equalization. I turn it over to you.
So as the council and the public may know, in our primary election, Amador City was successful in getting a 1/4-cent sales tax added to the roster, which will use sales tax, which again, based upon prior discussions and the fiscal financial part of it, will not be a significant amount based upon the businesses or those that visit. And it's actually more as a matching funds from ACTC, so that over a 10-year period, we get a significant amount, approximately 200,000 a year, which over 10 years is 2 million for the projects that we're doing around the city. Again, there are more policies and procedures, including a legislative body that will be overseeing that based upon members of the public. Again, if you have any questions about that, you're welcome to see either myself or the mayor, or to review the items itself that we'll vote upon. But as part of that, the state is requiring that we pass an ordinance because our previous ordinance does not apply to the current sales tax. So at this point, before this body is the chance to vote on this ordinance, which is 624. Now, normally an ordinance can be read onto the record.
It's ordinance 186.
Oh, is it 186?
Yeah, the resolution
Oh,
6.
sorry, it's resolution 620. So I apologize. So ordinance 186, which is what the state is requiring. It has been posted with the adequate time. If the council would like, I can read the entire thing, or you can waive the reading. Please waive the reading. All right. Does the public have any questions concerning the ordinance?
Public comments then closed.
I have a question. When does it go into effect? Oh, we have to have a second hearing,
We do,
but then when does it go into effect?
I believe it was,
Immediately after it's signed,
Yep.
just because it's a sales tax.
And do we let all the businesses know?
The equalization board will do that, but this will not start the first quarter of the new fiscal year because our paperwork won't, but the deadline would have been last Monday. We couldn't have gotten the ordinance passed by then. So this will take effect the second quarter of the fiscal year, October. So there's time.
And it'll be 8%.
The 1/4% increase will bring our sales tax to an even 8%.
No.
So that was Susan's comment. Any other comments, Susan?
yeah,
In section 3.12.0.50, it is the section that is the tax rate. I am just wondering if what you should do instead of saying, imposed upon all retailers a rate of a 1/4%. I like the word additional, because we're saying this is an addition. This is not the, to me, this reads, if I read this out of context, I'm reading that we have a 1/4% sales tax in the city.
I want to clarify that the title of the ordinance is adding to 3.12.
Then I think that should be, that should, in that particular section, I think it should be edited to clarify that. Added the 1/4%.
And I was looking at which section.
Oh, 3.12.050. It's called transactions tax rate.
Okay,
Okay, and then I don't know, and I couldn't find it, but it, maybe I wasn't reading carefully. This ordinance does not have to refer to transportation improvements the same way that the resolution and the measure did.
right.
Okay.
Bruce, any comments or questions? Bruce?
No. Sorry.
Mayor.
I don't have any other than, I think the section 3.12.030, the purpose does clarify that this is enacted based on the measure.
Good.
And so I think it's clear that it's an addition to the existing sales tax. And that edit that you're suggesting, I am not thinking it's needed.
Well, I think it's needed, but
That
people are
can-
going to
we
go
can-
straight to that section and look at how much, that's my opinion.
1/4 instead of 7.3. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even though I know that it's implied in other sections of the ordinance, I think that having, in the section that's stating the amount, I think it needs
It's
to.
gonna create confusion. We can have the word
Okay, so,
there. There's no vote on this because it's just the initial reading, so.
okay, so we just edited to add that additional word and post it with the correction.
Correct.
Okay, so that can be done in 30 immediately, so we can hit the 30 days. Okay. All right, so do we have a motion to edit the existing document, ordinance number 186, adding the word additional 1/4% for clarification, as proposed?
So move.
I don't make the motion.
One.
Oh, you move.
I just made the motion.
You're so quick to say second usually, Susan. I jumped to that. I anticipated. Sorry. So Susan moved.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Bruce,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Cam.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Okay, we can do that right after the meeting. Thank you. So the regular agenda items, and Dave has gone over those, that we'll read them and then open it for public comment and then open it up to the individual council members for comment when public comment's closed. So the first item on the agenda is the one with the correction. Review of resolution 624, resolution of City Council of Amador City, State of California, granting consent to the County of Amador to form the Amador County Wine Heritage District. And this follows the presentation at our last city council member meeting by John DeSantis. DeStancil?
No, discuss it.
Thank you, DeStacio. I knew it was just something. Thank you, Susan. So we have this resolution, and again, it can be read or we can waive reading of it. So waive. And Dave, do you have a more explanation and detail to add?
I just give a brief detail for those that weren't here. Basically what it is in order for a district to be created, it has to be done through the county. The county then requires if that district encompasses a municipality, that municipality also approve that by resolution. And so their hope is here, I'm sorry, I'm gonna read this to you. By creating the district, is to increase funding for enhanced education, sustainable marketing programs and highlight the wines produced in Amador County. So essentially, because the reason why it's before the council today is it was submitted to us the day of the agenda being published, and so there wasn't time to get it on. So the presentation, we allow that during the public comment, but now it's open to you as public comment, but also for the council to vote, given the resolution is now before the council for vote.
And included in the packet are the Board of Supervisor resolutions that were passed, so that was indicating county approval. So that's part of the packet there. So we have the resolution before us. Any discussion from council? Oh, I'm sorry.
Any public comment?
Question, we have 4 small wineries in town. Has anybody engaged with them to see whether they were in favor of?
Yes, the documents from the board that's proposing this had already been in touch with them and indicated that all 4 of the tasting rooms were in approval.
But has the city council talked to them at all?
No.
Are there any cities in Amador County that are not going this route?
This was at the Plymouth City Council meeting. This resolution was proposed and adopted at their last meeting because it met their timeline. Sutter Creek also had the proposal and approved it. I don't know about Ione and Jackson, but I do know about,
They're not included in that.
they're not included. So there we go. Thank you.
Interesting, thank you.
Mhm,
For the last city.
we are. So public comments closed. Council members.
Any, we'll start, I'll just always start with Bruce.
No comment.
Susan,
I like the idea.
okay. Ann?
I did not understand the map.
No.
No.
Like, there's this map and I didn't
It's
understand,
Totally understand.
it's,
Non-understandable.
I didn't understand if it was,
Mhm.
anyway, so perhaps with the information that I own and Jackson aren't in that, perhaps some of these white blobs are those cities.
I couldn't figure it out either.
Okay. I don't know, is it possible that when we record, we can get a better copy of the map?
The map wasn't included as part of our resolution. It was an attachment to the county resolutions.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay,
Right, we included the information in the packet that we received,
yeah,
so.
okay. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things on here that I just can't tell
I
what
know,
they mean.
They didn't have a key.
There's not a key, yeah,
It's really weird.
Yeah.
okay, that was my only comment.
Mayor,
Okay. No discussion, no questions.
we'll put it up for a vote. Bruce,
Uh,
Susan, Ann,
Hi,
Mayor.
Aye. So the motion is approved. Okay, next item is revisit the proposal from Amador County Recreation Agency, ACRA. And this is an item carried forward. So I turn it over to Councilmember Cheryl. Bruce.
thank you. Did everybody get a map?
There are copies up here for anybody in the audience. Mhm.
Anyway, you see we have 6 different areas. And some of them are quite extensive, such as the planters on Main Street. You know, we've been able to get volunteers to help out with the construction and getting these flower beds and what have you back in shape. Different entities. But what we're gonna need is a long-term relationship with these flower beds, because they're not gonna maintain themselves. They're gonna end up looking like our last ones did. You know, we put them in 13 years ago and they're just full of weeds. So we really need ongoing support. And I'm hoping the city will help support some of this, since it's all city property.
And how
I
does,
understand why this is the recreation agency.
I was just saying, tie this into ACRA.
Well, ACRA has offered for $250 a month.
Oh,
However, it's one person, 2 hours a week. Each week. and they'll go wherever we want them on city property. But it's only one person. But, you know, I think this is something we can think about. Right now, I think what we need is some sort of a budget from the city saying we have X amount of dollars to spend on this. Because, I mean, we can't just go piecemeal like we've been going. Fortunately, we've had volunteers volunteer a lot of, you know, different things. You know, some of the people here have done that. Basically, I guess that's,
And so tie this back into ACRA. Are we looking at that as being something that you would like to have involved with some of this?
possibly. I think right now, well, first of all, Mike Cox, Mike Cox? Yeah, Mike Rock is here. He's from Accra. If anybody has questions about, he's here to help. Like I said, what I'd like to see right now is get a budget of some sort. A
Okay,
monthly budget,
that-
so we know what we're working with.
So that would be an item you would like to see on the next agenda? Okay, we can do that. And then in terms of ACRA, and thank you for being here. My understanding from the original letter to Russell Robinson was a possibility of attending to our city park, which, because it's not something that would need the attention always, and is a small park, you generously included other city properties, which Bruce has highlighted on this map. So am I restating that properly?
Yeah, I mean, we're really flexible. I mean, we can do however much you want to budget or however little. I mean, we have 2 people in our park maintenance division. They maintain parks all over the county. So we have the equipment and the personnel. So we're happy to help. It's just a flat $25 an hour. And so however much, you know, help you need, we're fine, no matter what you decide.
So it doesn't, I'm jumping a little bit, sorry. So if I'm understanding correctly, 1 person for 2 hours could be 2 people for 2 hours if we set up the contract in that fashion?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's doable. Yeah.
That's a possibility?
Yeah, if there's a particular job that takes 2 people, yes, we'll have 2 people. Most of the time, that's probably not necessary, but there may be some projects where that is needed, and absolutely, we can do that.
Oh, so the arrangement can be a flexible one.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. I mean, we do all sorts of park maintenance, so whatever,
Mhm.
I'm sure whatever you have, I'm pretty sure they can handle. And you know Diane, right? Yeah,
Diane,
she's been our park maintenance person for a long time, so she's real experienced.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can I ask
I was
a
just gonna
question
say,
about
mhm.
the advertising? It feels like what's being proposed so far is actually too small.
it's small.
And granted, because the scope was different, right? It's probably perfectly appropriate for the playground and the sit and here, but if you start looking at things like the cemetery and some of the new things. I'm just wondering if we can get a revised recommendation from ACRA of what the budget should be, because the one thing we don't want to do is under budget.
I mean, we can do that. We can take our best guess at what it would take based on all the information that you have. I think we're pretty good at, I mean, Diane's really good at that, so she can tell you what she thinks, how many hours it will take.
did she come over?
Sure, she absolutely will. Yeah, and walk through it all.
If it's additional hours, we could just come to you and say, we need additional hours and money would be added to $25 at that rate.
I mean, you could do it that way. I mean, it's probably easier for the city manager
Mhm.
if we have an agreement that goes for at least 1 year, just so you know how to budget for that.
Right.
But I mean, we're pretty flexible, but Diane should come and see everything and walk through it with you, and then she'd give you a really good estimate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cindy,
You know, I just really want to put in word that I think we need something regular and formatted and some amount that we can count on. It's unrealistic to be expecting volunteers and older people at that to be caring for this city. And if we want this to be a beautiful little city, which I know we all do, it takes weeding and fertilizing and vegetating and lots of regular maintenance to make it flourish. And I would really recommend some kind of a budget that is realistic where we can get adequate help to make this city as lovely as it can be. We need a regular amount. We cannot, it's not sustainable to depend on older people to get out there and weed and fertilize. It's just not sustainable. So I would really hope that the city can come up with something to help us.
okay,
I have a question, I'm sort of brand new here. What about, supplies, for instance, who supplies the fertilizer, who supplies the flowers? This is just maintenance, am I correct?
and that's what the agenda item is right now, is a contract with Accra for some maintenance. The other two, we've kind of bird walked to two big issues. And so sustaining, and coming up with a budget for city property is going to be an agenda item for next month. Mr. Sherrill's requested that. And then there still is a proposal here for some regular maintenance for some city properties. It can be limited to the park, or it can be arranged on an as-needed basis to do some maintenance on other city property. So it's two, we're talking two different issues here. And the budget is going to be on the agenda for next month.
Does city property include, some of the roads that we have here?
Oh, you mean like the shoulders on the
Yeah.
roads?
What does, it's city property, unless it belongs to the individual. So there are certain aspects of the road that then have private property issues. So,
Mhm.
for instance, I'll use Fleetheart as an example.
Mhm.
Fleetheart came, what belongs to private property owners hanging on the road. And so the city it works with the private property owners to get them to clear their debris and brush first. Again, otherwise, we have to enter into their property to mitigate.
Are the property owners notified that they need to be cutting back for cars to pass? Or so the particular stretch of Fleetheart, those people have been notified,
They have,
and have they not responded?
depends on the property, to be completely honest. So, but again, that's outside the scope of this agenda item, so you gotta be careful to remain on the agenda items.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah, this is still public comment. Thank you, Connie.
Excuse me, I just want to remind everyone too, that the main labor needed will be in the spring, namely the fall or the summer, to keep everything alive, and some in the fall. Winter will take less maintenance.
Mhm.
So if we're doing it on a yearly budget, then
Mhm.
we don't need fertilizer.
Mhm. And the maintenance use would differ depending upon the season too,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is why your offer of flexibility is a positive thing. Okay, so any other comment from general public? Open it to council?
So is Accra gonna bring in a proposal?
Say that again,
Is
Susan.
Accra are you bringing in a proposal?
If that's the pleasure of the council, absolutely, yeah. It's not a problem for us, but
Okay.
we'll walk it with you and we'll make sure we know what the whole scope is, and then we'll price it out. And,
Mhm.
yeah.
Diane.
Okay,
I wanted to ask actually Elena, so the cemetery, I think, did we approve money for regular maintenance? That was just a one-time thing.
Yeah. Like, we did weedwhacking and.
Yep, okay,
Already needs to be done again, so.
okay,
That's why the.
okay, that's good, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have a duplication of effort there.
no.
Bruce, anything else? Anything further? Bruce?
No.
Mayor?
No, I have nothing further. So,
It's not a, you're not voting on anything.
no, we're not. So there'll be follow through. You'll connect and get with Diane, and then we'll come up with a proposal for the next city council meeting. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, item 9C, thank you. Report on progress rehabilitating City Hall apartments, and I turn it to Vice Mayor Al and Calardinian.
Yes, so, as we've learned in past projects, working with insurance companies takes us quite a long time. However, we have made some progress, thus far, and that is that there have been initial plans drawn and approved by the insurance company. And what that means is that they then approved, our team to develop the detailed building plans. And so we are in process of developing those, Fritzen, what's the Weatherby Reynolds, Fritzen, they're doing the drawings, the detailed drawing for the apartments. And by our next meeting, we should likely have, drawings to share for
Okay.
the revised apartments.
Is there any indication when the power is going to be restored to the whole effect for lighting? I mean, it's a potential liability from my perspective.
There is no, so actually, I take that back. In terms of actual, it is thought that construction will not begin till the summer.
It's not that far.
So, again, we're dealing with insurance companies. So it could take longer, yes. Well,
No. With the fire.
we think it, I think that they think it could be 1.5 to 2 years before the apartments can be occupied, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, from now, from
No, from April, from when the fire happened, it's been a year already,
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It will be at least probably another year.
And we're being reimbursed for the
Not-
cleanup.
Not yet, no.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working with the insurance company to get reimbursed
For the cleanup.
for the cleanup.
Yeah. So that is the update. So we're hopeful that we'll have something more specific and concrete to share with folks. Next meeting.
Okay.
Only has a question.
Yes, Connie?
In the rehabilitate for the, remodeling, redoing of the apartments, will the insulation that is under the floor of those apartments be worked on?
You mean in the crawl space?
Not is, oh, yeah.
In the crawl space, I believe the crawl space is included in the plan.
Because
Other things that are gonna happen is they're each gonna get a mini split, and we're getting a mini split here and a mini split downstairs. So because of the improved electricity, we'll be able to likely completely go off of propane. So, there's gonna be some significant improvements, but I believe that if you're talking about the area that's underneath, that area is to be rehabilitated. That was inspected. There was a lot of water damage under there. The apartments will be fully up to code in terms of insulation, fire separation walls, plumbing, everything. Yeah.
the reason I ask is that in the space where it's all dirt floor.
Yep.
But, with ACDCA, we've stored our Christmas decorations down there and, still need to do that. So I was there the other day and the insulation is all over the place and I'm wondering how old that is. Like, is there asbestos in there?
I don't think so.
No,
Because they tested for, lead, they tested for toxic things. So I don't think, but it is, yeah, and there's.
So the building's old, but the apartments were redone.
Yeah.
Like what?
Fiberglass.
Yeah.
So-
Is that believe?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it N? Weren't the apartments?
I asked Joyce. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Those were bodies are really.
Mhm.
Or not, hopefully. Yeah,
Yeah, so, yeah, and to Ann's point, asbestos testing would have
they would have
dealt
caught
with that, and it would have been a remedy when we had the cleaning done.
Okay, thank you.
well,
All right, any other public comment? Council members, Susan, anything?
No.
Bruce? Mayor?
Nope. Okay, well, thank you, Anne. Item 9D, request for the development of a sewer committee to address details such as Amador County code enforcement, monitoring, ADUs, et cetera. Councilmember Bregstad.
Yeah, I just think there are a lot of questions about our sewer system, and it seems like we should have a committee that goes over all those details.
And are you referring to a committee that is made up of the community and council member?
Maybe. Mhm.
You just have to put it up for a vote. So if you want to create a committee, it's just like you did at the beginning of the new council's term, where you can create a committee. So you'd need a motion after discussion, and then if you want to create that committee, it can be done.
Well, I'll make the motion to create.
Well,
We need comment first.
Public comment first, Susan.
Mhm.
Council member Susan, any other comments?
No.
Ann?
I think, I mean, I'm not in principle opposed to having a sewer committee. I think that the purpose and the responsibilities of the sewer committee is not clear. Like, what are they doing? Just answering questions when people have them? Are they inspecting homes for, illegal? I mean, what is the purpose of the committee? Before I would want to form a committee, because committee work is a lot of work, and we do have a hard time staffing committees, and we will need a committee for the road stuff. We will be required by law for them. I would like to actually see kind of a charter for it that says what it's going to do, what its responsibilities are.
I think, right.
Yeah,
Proposal.
I would be much more comfortable with that, other than saying let's have a sewer committee, because I mean, I'm not sure what we would tell people to do.
I have a question. Do we have a map of all of the sewers in the city and who owns, whose property it runs under and what the regulations are?
We do have a map showing all the sewer lines.
Yes.
And so where things get complicated with the who owns what. So we share part of our customer list with Amador Water Agency. And most of the people who they have listed in Amador City are also on the Amador City sewer system. However, some people, tenants, are paying their water bill, but landlords are paying the sewer bill. In some situations, it's the other way around, that the tenants are paying water, landlords, anyway, it goes both ways. So sometimes you can have the same property and two different rate payers, depending. And then when they do a sort of a collection of rate payers for us, they give us everyone who's in our zip code, basically. So we're getting people over from Bunker Hill. So we have to sort all that out. But so the answer to your question is, it's not all in one place. But we do have a way of working through these spreadsheets and maps to associate a sewer bill with a property.
So the answer to a map for the sewer system, for a little clarification, is each property has a map that it's supposed to have an easement recorded for any sewer lines. And given the age of our maps that are recorded in the county, they may or may not be there. So there are some properties that do and others that don't.
Yeah, when we did it the first time, I had to do a lot of cross-referencing between the official maps and what's on Google Maps, frankly, to make sure that we were attaching ratepayers to the right properties.
Okay.
I think we have like 6 properties outside the city limit.
getting
Okay.
sewer.
Hook into
Okay.
our system.
Yeah.
Before we get talking too generally, can
Yep.
we get Bruce's comment?
No, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean,
Mhm.
personally, I think we need to think about the future and what are we going to do with the sewage?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which would go to the scope.
Right,
Mhm.
so,
There are a lot of issues.
yeah, so I think it would be a good idea, but like you said, like Ann said, we need to have guidelines as to
Mhm.
what this committee is going to do.
I agree as well. Just to have some clarification of the scope, the purpose, so that people can express an interest in participating. Because just broadly, a sewer committee isn't real inviting. Okay, so any further discussion? Does that sound reasonable to you, Susan, to come up with a definition of scope?
Yeah, maybe Bruce, you and I can get together and talk
Sure.
about the issues.
Okay. Great. So there's no action on this one. You'll come up with something for the next meeting?
Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you, Susan. Item 9E, review requests from the new tenants in the old City Hall building regarding exterior paint and a window on the north facing side of the building. Kat.
Hi, Kat Leon, and I recently am in the process of moving into the old City Hall Library Public Restroom Firehouse. I didn't realize all that was in that one little building, but I was given permission to paint some of the inside, which has definitely brightened things up in there considerably. But in doing so, I've also noticed the deterioration of the outside and the raw wood that's seen. There's multiple layers of paint on there that's starting to black off and stuff. And I just think that it, being a historical building, needs some work done on it. I don't want to do the outside. I didn't want to do the inside part, but as far as the window on the north side, I think it would be very welcoming to people coming around, driving into the city and stuff. It doesn't look just like the old firehouse building. It makes it look a little more open that, hey, this is a business now and stuff. Is that an absolute must have? Of course not. Probably a more priority would be dealing with the current windows there, because there's ropes that are missing and they don't go up and down and they don't latch properly and things like that, that could become an issue once there's product in there.
So they are the double hung style?
Yeah. And they're old. I mean, the door, the strike plate is missing, that kind of stuff, but those are little things I could take care of. I'll put a double deadbolt rather than the one that you just break the glass and open the door that's in there. But the windows definitely, I think, need to be addressed, and the painting. It's just going to further deteriorate out there, and it looks tacky. It looks bad because it's right there, eye level, that you're seeing all of that. So.
Yeah, I've noticed it too, yeah.
Well, public comment.
I agree with that. It really does need reflection. You know, it's sun damage, a lot of it.
Council Susan?
My only question is, would it take up shop space to put a window in a wall?
It would, to a degree. The business is going in there is myself with Wine Tree Farm. So it's going to be Wine Tree Farm and more, which is, I have customized home decor and gifts kind of thing. Her actual bar setup is going to be on that side in the corner. And so I think the benefit of it would outweigh the little bit that we're going to lose from it. We just do things around and under it. I think it would definitely brighten it up in there. It's still dark in there. It's still, you got a wood roof and wood floor and brown.
Is it painted white inside?
It is now painted cream. It was brown. Everything was brown. It was, the ceiling is the same thing as the walls. The floor was a little bit lighter. So, yeah, it was pretty dark in there.
And, anything?
Yeah, one thing that I mean, I agree. I think the building needs to be painted at a minimum, I think. I think we have to do that. And this is a question that I've long had is, when do we, like, the city is, I've never been able to determine, have a sort of a schedule every 6 years or every 8 years, things get painted. So then we end up having to decide when when things have deteriorated. So
It's how it would work is we really should engage our planner in Larry White.
yeah,
Do that and to do an inspection of the buildings and see that need and to work out that schedule. We've never had one before.
right.
So again, that would be the thing that we could do there is we could have Larry White look at the building, look at the needs, and then we could bring it, he could bring before the council. He
Mhm,
could put it out for bid, you can have those bids brought to the city,
mhm.
and then, well, actually, design review would be the one
Yeah.
to probably.
Yeah, and that was gonna be my second comment, was I think if we are thinking of, because windows, if you put a window into an old building, it's there forever. It doesn't matter what the next business is. So I think it would have to go into design review so that it's utterly consistent with, and maybe, maybe it doesn't, I mean, and you just said it wasn't your biggest priority was the window.
No,
It was
But
the
fixing-
the existing
fixing-
windows and the paint would be.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, that's where, I mean, that's what I would feel comfortable with is getting a scope of work up and, and doing it. It's our property. We need to keep it up.
So that's more a question for Larry White.
Yeah,
Based upon this discussion, we can engage him to look into that.
We could also ask them what a window would cost for installation.
yeah,
It's just nice to have more of daylight, more,
Okay.
of course.
or more real light, not light.
It would make a huge difference.
It would.
Again, before we have more further discussion, we need to get every council person's comment. Sorry.
Well, no, maintenance is just like the flower beds.
Yep.
You have to
Yep.
maintain them,
Yep.
and our buildings are just as important. Or more so, actually,
Mhm,
this building, for instance.
mhm,
No, I absolutely agree with
mhm.
getting it painted. Have Larry check out the windows and see if there's something.
Right.
Well, for the repair.
He's gonna know all the procedures, he's gonna know the business
Right.
code. The thing is one of the reasons why we hired him is he brings that wealth of knowledge, having worked for other cities.
Yeah.
And how they do that, we've never had this issue come up again, or not that we vocalized, because we've just done it. And so again, this is a procedure now that we need to undertake, because it's been brought to the council,
Yeah,
so.
you just need estimates on
Mhm.
what it's
And
gonna cost.
he'd probably be able to tell us if the windows can be repaired as opposed to replaced. Sometimes they can and sometimes they can't.
Well, okay. I was just gonna say, with regard to the double hung, I have double hung and in a house older than that one, and they can be, the roping can be repaired in most cases, but Larry again would be the one to look at the extent of whatever needs to go on for those windows.
Right.
And to suggest whether it's a replacement or a repair for the windows. And then he can do the estimate for the other features, the painting, and then if a window would be something to look forward to in the future.
Right, and I don't think windows apply here, but he's also gonna be able to advise us on what we can do versus what requires additional permitting requirements, like for instance, I'll just use the example of like the main street, the sidewalks.
Mm,
The repairs can be done, but replacement requires taking it to code, which then becomes unfeasible unless there's a complete revamping. And so, again, he can advise us on that. If it's a
Mhm.
matter of just, hey, we fixed the windows, great. If not, do we need to replace them? Yes, and we can look into that as well and get bids as well.
okay,
So,
okay. So if I could sum it all up, then we're gonna go to Larry to have him kind of follow through on the exterior painting, checking whether the windows can just be repaired, or if they're not able to be repaired, what the codes are in terms of replacement. And then work up estimate if there, at some future date, there's a window on the north side to bring back to us. Have I hit everything okay? Okay, So we don't need to do any action on this. This is just follow through for you. Okay,
Are you thinking of repeating the design of the front windows for the new window?
Yeah.
yes. I answered for you because you'd mentioned that.
I think that would be the best way to go.
Mhm. Okay. Any other comment, Kat? We leave anything out?
No.
Okay, you'll expect Larry to get in touch with you.
The stuff that I needed, can I get it to you? Yeah. For tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kat. This would be our additional item. I'm asking for anybody in the audience who didn't get a copy of the draft agenda item. It's up here. And this agenda item is to review a request from the city treasurer for direction regarding the following. City funds invested in CDs that are maturing in the next couple of days. And that's why this item is of urgency, because they fall out of that window of being able to be rolled over. And this is from City Treasurer Holly Groth. And then other discussion point are city funds in a money market account with a fluctuating yield. We don't need to address that one at this particular time. The issue is at this particular time that city funds are in two different banks in the local area. And one bank is one that handles public entity funds, and they are fully insured to the full value of the deposit. It's not limited by any FDIC measures. The other bank, where we have some city funds, it does fall under FDIC regulations where it's only insured for up to $250,000 for any single account holder. And the city would be the account holder. Bank A, which has the public funds, we have some CDs. We have two CDs right now that need to either be rolled over as they are, not, just let them expire and go into the money market that is in that bank for the long, until something else comes along. And that interest rate at that banker is right now 1.5 to 2%.
Oh, no.
I know. The other bank, I'm dropping things all over the place. The other bank, local bank, has CD rates. They are the 14-month CD rate of 4.5%. So we could take the funds out of the first bank, put them in, but we are exceeding the amount of money that is insured at that second bank. So she needs direction. She doesn't want to make the decision. She wants the city council to give her direction on the three options of just letting them roll into the existing money market account until another time when there's further action needed, to roll them over to their existing interest rate of 1.5 to 2%, or to take that money out and put it in the second bank in the 14-month CDs for 4.5% interest rate. Her recommendation at this particular time is to leave them where they are, either roll them over or put them in the money market account. And
At 1.5.
yep. But the reason she says perhaps it'd be better to put that money into the money market account, because we can then look further into a different CD rate. We don't have to make that decision now, but what we have to decide is to roll it over or to let that expire and put that money into the money market account at the same bank. Comment.
Yeah, wouldn't there be another option, which I think you implied, is that there could be bank C?
Yeah.
Some
One
in
of the-
bank A, B, some in bank C, and maybe there's even bank D. I don't know what the amounts are to share the risk.
Let me comment on that.
I didn't quite hear. her.
She was saying there's another option, that would be a bank C, which would be not dealing with the urgent issue, but that opens up the possibility. One of the restrictions is that most banks in California do not handle public funds. It's very difficult to get it established, so they're limited. And the ones that do require a very extensive application process with the charters and so on. So exploring for a bank C has come up before, but you are correct in terms of putting that money into the money market leaves it open to if there is a bank C.
I'm for.
Hold on, I'm just saying.
I'm aware of the limitation of $250,000 for FDIC or whatever it is. Could it be possible to take the amount of funds and divide them in half. So that you're below $250,000 and have two identical accounts.
Account holder is the restriction. Yeah, it's by account holder. So if it's the same entity as account holder, two accounts. Yeah, yeah. Yep, but that was my very question.
It's aggregated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Any other public comment? Okay,
Now,
public
what-
comment,
What
public comment.
is it we can't do?
We can't have two, in the bank that has the restriction for amount, we can't have two identical accounts in there because they're insured by the aggregate amount, by the account holder, not by the account itself.
If you wanted to do it, you'd have to put it in completely different institutions with no more than 250,000 in each institution.
Yes.
And find out, you might check and see whether there are any other major banks that are offering decent rates at that minimum deposit and then not go over the FDIC insured amount.
Mm-hmm. Which would be, again, our next step, but the urgent step now is do we roll the CDs over? She wants direction. Roll the CDs over for their existing rate or put them in the money market. And then we have the option of the bank C.
It's just a terrible rate. I mean, as Elena said, maybe it's best to put it into the money market account and then very quickly.
Well, you have to understand too, public entities don't, because of the large amount, public entities, they don't give a good rate for public entities too. That's the other problem.
But you're getting for something somewhere else.
If we take the risk, so that one bank will take the risk up to 250,000.
And are you saying there's not another bank that will take that?
I can just tell you extensively that the city treasurer has looked at numerous banks. And again, limited by the banks that will accept the public funds. And that's, so like, for instance, personally, like we have money invested in banks. I can tell you this, city treasurer, she's my wife, no conflict. In fact, I didn't know anything about this issue, just so everybody's clear, she went right to the mayor. I can just tell you with the money that we own, and we hold, we looked at those same options as to bring it to the city. When she contacted those banking institutions, they were not even open to taking our money.
Mm-mm.
So, the city money, so.
How much money do we have?
Our schools are up here someplace and you're welcome to have a copy of them if you'd like. Okay, so after the meeting, you're requesting a copy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No,
So we go to council's comments, Susan, did any
Well, I
additional?
like the 4.5. Versus the 1.5.
okay, but the issue on right now is, because we can only address the issue of urgency, to roll over the two CDs that are mature or to let them expire and put their value into the money market at that bank.
But if we roll it over, does it get 4.5?
Different bank. Putting it into the money market gives that possibility of a next step being getting a CD at the 4.5 at a different bank, or finding a bank C, as Elena said. It kicks the decision down the road a little bit, but our decision today is roll the CD over at the current rate, or let that money go into the money market account and the city treasurer will then come up with the best possible investment. Does that clarify it?
Yes, Mud.
Yeah. And anything?
I think another option, which is not necessarily a desirable option from my recollection, was that we can roll the CD into Bank B. Then we will be over the FDIC limit, so we can choose to take a risk with city money. And we would get the higher interest rate, but we would be taking a significant risk with a fairly large amount of money over the limit. So to clarify, I think that is also an option. And yeah.
And how long does it have to be in there? What's the term?
14 months.
14 months. Well, how many times have they had to go to FDIC?
A few times recently. A few times recently. Yeah, a few times recently. I mean, I think I agree. I wouldn't be nervous about it, except for that we did have some major collapses last year in banks.
And again, that goes to the potential, and I don't know what the banks are that, maybe the mayor should clarify that, but there are regional banks that are willing to work with our public funds. And so while you trust most of the time a regional bank, as brought up,
They're the next to
it sometimes is greater risk.
Mhm. Yeah, are the two banks that we're referring to are El Dorado and Umpqua.
So I heard the first, I didn't hear this.
Umpqua,
I mean, could you at least put the 250 into the,
that's a different question. Okay,
understood?
the issue of the reason we could add this is we have to make a decision on the CDs. Yeah,
Bruce,
I mean, if we put in the money market, then we can take a month and figure out where's the best place for it to go.
and Holly would do that.
I think that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
That was my same thought. I have nothing further to add, though.
And there's no penalty of taking, how long does it have to, is there a time limit? When we go to the money market, can we take it out the next month?
We can take it out the next day. It's just a savings account.
Is it paying interest?
Low. Yeah.
And is it insured?
Yes, that particular bank where those funds are is the one that as public entity funds that are insured for the full amount of the deposit, whatever it is. So it is a more secure place, but it's one with lower,
Yeah,
risk.
Return on investment.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is a shame.
yeah. So
you need a motion.
we do, and the issues before us, dealing with this one item, which is of timeliness, is what to do with those CDs that are mature. We need a motion to roll them into the money market or depending upon, we need a motion.
Or to get CDs
I
that
can't
are
craft it.
above 250. If that's what you're saying, and another option.
You could, yeah, if somebody wants to make that motion.
Mhm.
I move that we authorize city treasurer to roll the CDs at Umpqua into the money market account with the intention of
Looking for a higher yield.
finding a higher yield.
Quickly.
I have to tell you, I've been talking to Holly about this for months. She is looked and looked and looked and looked.
Mhm,
So I mean,
mhm,
it'll be, if she finds it, it'll be as quick as she can do it. She's, anyway, that's my motion without the editorializing.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
Susan. For vote, Susan, are you in favor or against? Or abstain?
Oh, I guess I'm in favor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Bruce,
Aye.
Mayor.
aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll direct Holly in that regard. Okay, so we're finished with the regular agenda. We're on to council committee reports. These will be brief reports on matters of general interest. And we start off with Amador Regional Sanitation Agency. I think I have it correct this time, Susan, right? Thank you. Bruce Sherrill.
Ursula's meeting
Mhm.
today was canceled
Oh.
because the staff is working on the solution. So we're just waiting to hear.
And we're not gonna get our $13,000.
That's done. Discussed and done. Okay. Amador Air District, that's also you,
Oh.
Bruce.
Nothing happening there.
Okay. We've heard about Amador.
I have an EV question for you.
Uh-huh.
How is our customer base? Do we know? How many people use it?
It's pretty small right now. We just took in $9. Since it's been
yeah.
installed.
And I did mention to,
Charges is that, just out of curiosity.
Two.
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna suggest that we invest in some signage on the highway as well as in town.
Where it is, I park the car. So-
Yeah, they're right by the,
Wasn't hybrid, so I would not need it for very long.
yep, that's perfect.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
would be exactly.
Where is it?
And back of,
Backside of the firehouse.
Awesome.
Yeah.
mhm.
Is it on Google Maps, and, you know,
It-
where you look for those?
Apparently not.
Yeah,
I was told it was.
Yeah. he was
Maybe-
told it was, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it hasn't been updated. Sometimes it takes a minute. Okay. Don't
I
know.
just have to say, I was impressed to find that.
Yeah.
I don't know that they have any that are free. I don't know.
Well, I haven't been able to find one downtown.
That's not, so far as on grant basis for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
Is-
Mel.
Is it a charge point? Is that the,
Is it a charge
Oh,
point?
ours is amp up,
what?
amp up.
Okay. Just.
So stay-
Not a
stay
charge
true.
point account, but. Okay,
So,
I'm asking as a consumer here.
so to answer your point, to have one on the highway, we'd have to work through Caltrans.
Yep,
It's a nightmare. But we can do it, just so you know.
It could be on Main Street.
On Main Street, we have the power to do that.
Yeah.
100%, but there is a decrepit lodging sign on the highway, we could add it to that.
Is there a tower available there?
No, it's
No,
just a sign, you just like,
It's an
it's,
easy term.
you know, anyway, but I
But
agree.
we can get a hold of.
I think it's just really important.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dave, would you go to Caltrans then?
I get hold of Caltrans.
Well, I can speak that the Jackson was getting a lot more use than it did even a month or two ago.
Excellent.
So that should pick up here.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it will.
Okay, anything else on Air District or EV? Okay, we've heard about Amador County Recreation Agency, so we've had conversations about that tonight. Amador County Transportation Commission,
We're about to bring a resolution on developing the bike and pedestrian path.
that's
between-
another committee, Susan.
Oh, okay. That is ACTC.
I know, but we have a separate committee on that now. Okay, anything else? Okay,
Nothing unusual.
okay. Were you able to go to the last meeting?
They have the meeting today.
Mhm.
I haven't reviewed the minutes yet,
Mhm.
so. But when I looked at the agenda, it wasn't anything particular to Amador City.
Okay. Okay. LAFCO, Local Area Information Commission.
So this evening, we reviewed the budget proposal for the next fiscal year. One thing that's important, a couple things that are important actually, is they're not increasing the city's cost share proportion in the budget. However, once the auditor is finished, the auditor is still working. The auditor is the person who would determine, the proportion of contribution each agency needs to make. So our portion could go up when the auditor is done. And then the other thing is that starting this year, LAFCO is going to start focusing on what they call municipal service reviews. These, I don't even know what's in these municipal service reviews, but apparently they're a fairly big deal. LAFCO has to do with boundaries and,
City limits.
boundaries and special districts and so forth. So anyway, so it is possible that, that Amador City will sometime in the next year to be up for its municipal service review. And even though it's likely to be a revision of the past review, it could involve also some additional funding required by the city.
Mhm.
So
They are a big deal. I mean, they city grand jury uses them.
Yeah.
So they are a big deal.
Yeah.
Good, okay, well, thank you. Fire department, nothing new to report on that one, but I do need to get in touch with them regarding some of the fire mitigation. Because there have been some questions have come up from various residents, so I will do that. In terms of homeless task force, they're having a meeting next week. Their big push right now is, of course, their resource fair, which will be in May. But they're going to be having an additional set of workshops. Next week will be one of them at their meeting. Ask Anthem. You're invited to another great event in your community. Open to anyone interested in learning about Medi-Cal updates and eligibility. And there's a poster. I'll have it posted in town for them.
this is for the homeless task force.
Yes,
For
they
the-
have the volunteer meetings that they're posting. Yeah. So if there are any volunteers who are interested, but they have a webpage announcing some of that. Now, Susan, the Bicycle Path Advisory Committee.
I'll show you what I have done. I've marked up a map showing the Amador city limits, Sutter Creek, and suggesting this as phase 1, Turner Road to Sutter Creek. And phase 2 would be improving String Bean Alley, which is expensive. And we could still do it with far less money here. And if we have the money, we can improve String Bean. And I mentioned to Sutter Creek, to what's her name?
Julia.
Julia, that she needs to mark up a map of, I think there should be a phase 1 and a phase 2. Phase 1 just going down Amador Road to Amelia and going to Badger and around town that way. And phase 2 improving the intersection there where Main Street meets, let's see, what is it?
Gopher Flat.
Gopher Flat, which is a horrible intersection and would take major work, and do that as a phase 2.
That's really, I think the other issue is that's a city property issue. It's a city issue, not necessarily falling under the bike path. It might be in conjunction, but it would be a city need. That was the discussion, that part of that discussion. Part of to follow up on what you said, there was a lot of discussion in that meeting regarding the phase 1, just the back road to Sutter Creek and getting people safely into Sutter Creek through the back road there, Badger. And getting momentum. I think it's important to get a project done and to be able to say this is done and then to go forward because it opens the doors for other monies. So there's a resolution that they have drafted that will be coming up the next meeting, looking at exactly that phase 1 like you described.
You know, I told John Gedney that it was on our agenda, but he's the one that sent me the resolution and I was thinking it was you.
Oh.
And so I wrote him, I said, corrected,
Yeah. It's just, it's their agenda.
We're not on the agenda.
Not yet. So thank you. And so that's moving forward, some nice action on that.
And then it would have minimum improvements like a couple of benches along the way and maybe some beacons where it's hard to see where cars are coming. And then just some signs saying share the road or bike path or something. A minimum
Investments. Yes. I think that's a good choice to go that route. In terms of city parks, and we've kind of hit that, the reimbursements have all gone in and we're just waiting on that. Anything to add to that, Anne?
Well, what I would add, and this is a little bit to do with the fire department, is one of the asks that we need to have for them is to get started on that burn pile back there. It is gigantic now. There's a gigantic log tree trunk in it. We need, and you know, whatever day he can get somebody to start, we can get people to come and tend it. I mean, I don't think that's, and he will ask, he'll say, well, you need to get people, we will be, just say it's going to be Thursday afternoon at 2:00 and we'll get people there. So I think I will do that. That is super important. And that is, I would say, the #1 burn pile priority right now.
And where is the burn pile?
Right
there. It's huge. It's covered with grass. Part of it's covered with grass now.
Right here.
Right here. Yeah.
Okay.
But
thank you.
Yes.
Try to suggest that it's done during the week and not on.
Oh, what a good,
yeah,
that's such a good point.
You know, those logs could be cut up into firewood.
If they're not rotten, they could be rotten.
Good kindling.
You want to have a go at it, Susan?
I don't have it.
Just saying. Yeah.
I want to see out there Susan with an axe.
Yeah, chainsaw. Okay, any updates on short-term rentals?
No.
Okay. And under historical city properties, anything on cemetery?
Yes.
Okay.
Monday, install the first 5 out of 10 signposts. What that means is they have to get a jackhammer and put in rebar and cement and put those in. And they're gonna do the last half probably next Monday. And then we get to bolt the signs on, and then we're a project we started 7 years ago. 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
That's so cool.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Well, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
I think they're going really good.
Sidebar on the cemetery. With the last city council meeting, I did alert everyone that Duke would be in the area. Did that happen?
No, he had a death in the family, so he had to cancel, but, I've given him the possibility of June, because the branch is not in cement yet.
Yeah.
So, I'm waiting to hear back from him, he has to take care of the estate of his deceased relative.
Mhm. Thank you, Claudine. Okay, museum, anything to update us on?
I don't think so.
Other than somebody's been working diligently back on that
We're
slope
getting
there.
we're getting our patio in shape.
Yes, yes.
So
So
we have
look-
events.
Look forward to an event. Powder House?
Well, we're getting an estimate from Jim Fisher. An exact,
For fencing?
no, for the stonework.
Oh.
We won't have to do any fencing because so far Bob has not signed off on anything. So we're gonna be working just from the inside,
At
Okay,
least it's something.
but
yeah.
we gotta get the stonework.
Mhm.
And hopefully the Historical Society, the Amador County Historical Society has expressed some interest in helping
Great,
Okay,
financially.
great.
even better. Okay. Monument, and I don't know we've had any action in terms of looking at batteries so it can be illuminated. Anything on that at this point?
Again, I've contacted so we're gonna have to have another solar company
Uh-huh,
come and give us a bid. Cause the
Okay.
old solar company has just written us off, so.
okay,
Again, I would love to just plug some batteries in it, but I don't
Mhm.
wanna fire, so.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
What
so,
about hay backing though? It's like you can't even see it even during the day because the weeds are so high.
is that our property?
that is, so that's normally Ian takes care of that.
Okay,
that?
We'd whack the monument.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll-
Okay.
Did it?
okay, well, I'll ask him to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Firehouse,
I think we did.
we've handled that one. Okay. So now we're on to administrative reports and comments, city manager report.
So I'll make this quick, just for time's sake.
Mhm.
First and foremost, is I have a meeting next Thursday for our, roads and, local streets and roads committee. This is a chance for us to submit road projects, which will be due by July 1st, so I'll be working on that and coming up with the different projects. Hopefully, we can find some funding there for projects that we didn't get from the county. Other thing too, is we've had some concerns with the city based upon our permit that allows for events.
Mhm.
So we're reviewing that and going over that permit and making some revisions to that. Again, that are appropriate, that fall within the
City ordinance.
purview of the city ordinance as well as under the purview of the mayor and city manager. So again, I'll have those will be done. So at this point, we're not issuing any permits at this point
No,
until that's completed, just so that we don't create any confusion. I think I'll just leave it at that for
Mhm.
tonight.
And Dave, about the
Yes.
roads, why wouldn't we use Measure K money?
But we will, but that was gonna take time, so again, we want to take that money once we get it, of course. And then we've gotta let it accrue, because we can do little projects with that amount. But if we're able to put that in an account and let it accrue over time, then we can do bigger projects that need to be done. So again, but we can't even touch that money yet, because again, we haven't even started to collect it. Nor do we have the matching funds, and also there's still some work like forming a committee that will review it before we can even go down that road. So in the meantime, we need to be looking for other sources in order to take care of the projects, some of the projects that we have.
Mhm.
So again, it kind of goes akin to what we have with the firehouse. At this point, we're doing maintenance issues that will be preventative. We can do major repairs after that money comes in, because our first alarm, when we get it, will only be $200,000.
Well, that's a lot of money.
Well,
Mhm.
it sounds like a lot of money, but when it comes to roads, it's
Roads,
actually
uh-huh.
very insignificant.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay, thank you. this is a little bird walk, but I think still a question to you. We're gonna need to post for our opening now on city council.
We are,
Okay.
is the council elected to just do
Mhm,
a post and to have an appointment,
mhm,
not just special elections, so. Again, Councilmember Robinson is not here this evening, which would have given us an opportunity to thank him. He's
Mhm.
absent tonight due to family issues. So we will again, probably next month, congratulate him, thank him for his service. But yes, we'll begin the process now that we have completed this meeting,
mhm.
post that for the public. So again, for our public, anyone that would like to be on city council, there is a vacancy. So
Okay.
we encourage you to, if you have a desire,
Come join us.
send us a letter of intent, and then we can put that before the council to receive those according to the terms we set in the letter that we give to the public.
Okay, thank you. Okay, city attorney, and I want to thank you for your edits of the ordinance, Pat. That was great.
I mean, it was a routine, it was properly drafted
Mhm.
and accomplished the purpose.
Thank you.
So I don't have anything additional.
Okay.
The issue that has been raised that, city manager are going to work on getting a letter out regarding the, money that the city expended for a sewer repair that may well not be the city's responsibility. Get after that, but that's the only ongoing thing that I'm aware of that is still pending.
Okay,
I have a timeline for you.
Okay,
I worked on that today.
okay,
email, we'll do that. I
thanks.
actually don't have any appointments tomorrow. I check, you cross my fingers.
You just jinxed it.
Messages on my phone when I get back. Oh, I gotta do this or.
Yeah.
So.
That's the sewer hookup along the pipe.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Pat. In terms of mayor and city council reports, once the ordinance that we discussed tonight, and a number is already out of my mind, 186, the next hearing, and then when that is signed, that we will then have that responsibility, as Ann pointed out, to have an additional committee under our council committees, the citizens committee for the audit with Measure K. And there are already 2 people who have expressed an interest in being on that. So the committee has started, but of course we have to have the ordinance signed before that is official. And in terms of, I think we've gone over everything else. Anne, I got your letter on LEAP. Thank you very much. Thanks for forwarding that. That's great.
I do have one other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, please finish. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, just.
Okay, I'll just finish because I'm on a roll, all right?
Yeah,
Okay,
roll on.
Then we'll go on. We'll go back. City cleanup day is going to be June 1st. The city council, the office here will be making the posters and they'll be up. It'll be June 1st. And as usual, it's from in the morning when they're there till when they're full or noon, and then they're gone. So it behooves everyone who's got anything they want to put into those dumpsters to get there early. But that'll be coming up. A reminder that on the 26th, the 49er wagon train will be going through town. It should be here, but about 9:30 to 10, and it's always a little bit late. So I would aim more for the 10 o'clock. Yeah. And I think that's about it from mayor, council members.
I just have one sort of holdover. Last year, maybe even the end of the year before, I had approached Frank Axe and made it a formal request to do a speed study between Sutter Creek and Amador City.
I remember that.
And tonight he told me he thought it was done. And I said, well, I don't think anyone's contacted anyone in the city with the results, so he is following up on that. So, you know, he hasn't forgotten, so.
Well, what's the issue?
A speed study between Sutter Creek and Amador City, so we can lower the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit that starts at the top of the hill coming straight down into town.
So, and Anne's advice when she first mentioned this about a year ago, or when Frank Axe was here, was, so everybody driving downhill, make sure you go 45, because they base the speed study on the flow of traffic, not on what's safe.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, so he said he thought it was done, so.
Los Angeles, where the speed limit would be 80.
110.
Yeah.
110 or 2.
Yeah.
Other than traffic.
Yeah.
They can't want to.
Okay, so thank you, Anne. Susan, do you have any design review?
Oh, we had two signs. One, the attorneys down here. And we got it approved. They wanted it on the building and we suggested that they put it on the ground perpendicular so you can read it this way and not on the building.
Mhm.
And the other one was creaky cupboard, their existing sign, which is really a nice sign. So they were both approved.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we have another one coming in.
Okay.
Good.
You gave all your information? Yeah.
Things out there.
Okay. So with that, the meeting is adjourned at 8:37. Thank you all very much.
Sandy.